Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for Leo season or July, August 2026, whatever your timing paradigm is. It's fine. I'm here for it and I'm here for you, Scorpio. So I hope you are well. I'm using the 777 Bulgarian deck for you today. Things to tell you before we begin. If the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. That is via the links in the description box below. The link that takes you to Selfie will take you to the standalone extended for this video. But alternatively, if you would like to see more of the extended content that I produce, which is a significant amount, you might consider coming over to my private community, which is the Order of the Phoenix on the Circle platform. There you can get access to all of the extendeds for all of the signs every month, plus weekly energy readings, which quite often will be 45 minutes plus, depending on how intense the energies are. What else have we got over there? We've got the Deccan Walk, which is proving to be nothing short of life-changing. If you've ever wondered about the crossover between tarot and astrology, the Deccan Walk is it. And if you join at the higher tier, then you can come participate in the live classes that we run over there and get access to every single class that I have taught in 18 months now, and some of the guest teachers that have come to teach there too. So if that sounds like it might be of interest to you, there is actually a week's free trial as well, so you can come and see it, test it out, see if you like it. Yes, and I think that's everything that I have to say about that. So let's flip the camera around here. And let's talk about what we're actually going to do here today. The first thing we're going to do is ask the most important question that we can ask in 2026, which is simply, where am I right now? And that question is, it can be as literal as metaphorical as you would like it to be. And from there, somewhat inspired by the Deccan Walk, we're actually going to look into things that are quite Leonine in nature. Obviously, we're in Leo season, right? For some signs, this has shown up as where they need to show a little bit of courage, right? Where they're being asked to come out of their comfort zone. For others, it's the struggle versus result dynamic. Small insect climbing around in my hair there. I'm going to leave it kind of open to see how it comes up for you, because it's been shifting and changing for each of the signs, which isn't really what it has done since I started doing it this way months and months ago. So I'm going to leave it relatively open, and then we'll finish up with the second most important question you can ask yourself in 2026, which is simply, what is my next step? Where do I go next? Not what are my big plans for 5 years hence, 10 years hence, not even what am I going to be doing this time next year, but what is my next step? That's all we need to do. So I hope that's okay for you. This is what I have. In the extended, obviously, we're going to expand on the themes that come up here, whatever they may be. So let's have a look and see where you are right now, Scorpio. What's going on with Scorpio? Oh, there's the first card. We have the Two of Pentacles. We have the King of Wands, and one more card for Scorpio. Two, well, of course, okay. So we've got the Knight of Wands, and we've got the Seven of Wands. This is interesting, because there's a lot of fire here. Oh, and I didn't even notice that at the bottom of the deck. We have the Ace of Wands at the bottom of the deck. This looks pretty good, and I was a little unsure as to how the land would be lying for you right now, because obviously, with the movement of the nodes that is coming up very, very shortly now, matter of days at this point, combined with Pluto being in Aquarius and Jupiter being in Leo, the South Node about to go into Leo, solar eclipses going to happen during Leo season, singular. There's just one, actually. There's an awful lot of weight being put on. There's an awful lot of noise, one might say, happening 90 degrees of where your Scorpio placements are. Now, that 90 degrees is an important aspect, because generally speaking, it brings a bit of friction with it, right? And there is we have to move because it is uncomfortable to stay where we are when that friction begins to occur. So I wasn't sure before I pulled the cards out, whether that friction was something that was serving you or just grating on you. And I'm pleased to report it looks like to some extent it's serving you here. We've got the Ace of Wands at the bottom of the deck. We've got the King of Wands, which is really, I love to see these two come up together. But we also have the Knight of Wands with the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is Mars and Leo. This is action-packed right here. But let's not forget about this Two of Pentacles, because I do think that this is quite important on account of the fact it is two. So we've got, the way I read the cards at least anyway, this idea of a kind of internalized state of balance that we're either looking to achieve or we have achieved. You know, this particular version of it feels like there's some sort of way that we have managed to achieve the balance around the idea of responsibilities, what is important to us, what we invest in. You know, the pentacles for me are energetic currency. So the kind of balancing of the things that we must do with the things that we want to do, or, you know, any variation thereof. I'm just going to shut this window because ducks. I think it's actually a really good place to start off all of this big combustible energy here for you, because it feels like things have settled to such a degree internally that there's a kind of clarity beginning to emerge that has been, to some extent, absent for most of 2026, and maybe a canny bit of 2025 for you, right? So, I like this. I like this a lot. It's a little chaotic, Scorpio. I think it's probably fair to say it is a little chaotic because it's very wand heavy. So there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of action. But I think it's tempered by the presence of the Two of Pentacles for you. And like I said, it feels like you've achieved a kind of clarity that has been absent for quite a while. And all of this seems to be shoehorning you, you know, whether you're feeling that directly or whether it's by, you know, little discrete nudges from the universe toward some sort of expression of what you have found to be valuable of late. The Ace of Wands is always an initiation, right? Sometimes it can be new behaviors, and we might add into that sideways a kind of changed behaviors. But the Ace of Wands deals very much with things like creativity, passion, drive. It is the doing aspect of the tarot for sure. And where we have an ace versus, you know, any other kind of card here, what we've got is the initiation of something new that we possibly have not experienced before, we haven't done before. We are on the precipice of something that is changing the way that we interact with the 3D reality, and it's coming from a place that is sort of suggested but not overtly stated of a fairly significant change having happened for you internally. The reason that I say it's not overtly stated is because the Two of Pentacles is it's quite low level compared to what we see being the outward expression of it. Now, I'm going to pull up the clarifying deck, which for you has actually turned out to be the Deviant Moon. And let's just dig into this Two of Pentacles, because this is a subtle changes within leading to big changes without sort of dynamic to it. Tell me about this. Whoa. I believe that was the Judgment card. It is indeed the Judgment card, and that's huge. That's absolutely massive. Tell me about this Two of Pentacles, please, and the Empress right there, right? So it's Venus energy. So when we're talking about things that we value, things that we're prepared to invest in and allow them to gestate, it's interesting because there's a slightly contrary message coming through, but it's not really contrary. It sort of makes sense. To it, the Empress is about things taking time and things that are important taking time. The Empress is often depicted as pregnant. There is a certain gestation period that is required for the, you know, production of new life or new creative endeavors, new everything, right? But the Judgment card gives us the sense that a decision has been made that changes everything. Now remember, these two major arcana cards are actually appearing under a very low level minor arcana card, but nevertheless also a card of initiation, because the Two of Pentacles is Capricorn energy, right? What do we have down here? We have the World, of course we do. Ooh. I'll put one of my little stone dogs on top of this this lady's boobies, because oh god, there's boobies everywhere. Fucking hell. Just because the filters on YouTube can sometimes be a little enthusiastic, should we put it like that, right? So here's the thing. It feels like a subtle shift in some way, right? Because there is this balancing that has occurred. But actually what is underpinning that subtle shift in terms of what you value and what is important is a realization that what it takes is a conscious decision from you that this is the direction that you are going in. We've got the world at the bottom of the deck indicating that we do indeed have the end of a cycle having been achieved by you right here, Scorpio. And although whatever it is that you're intending to put in motion is going to take some time to come to its fruition, or come to its stage of birthing, whether these are changes you want to make in your life, whether these are changes in relationships you want to make in your life, or whether there's a sense of a total do-over even in the way that you see the world. Like, these fundamental energies of the Judgment card and the Empress card are saying it's going to take time, but it starts now. And to some extent, we're actually also seeing that same message being confirmed by the cards that we've got here: King of Wands, Knight of Wands, Seven of Wands, Ace of Wands. Although the energy of the Wand suit is much more immediate than even the Empress or the Two of Pentacles right there. Do you know what it makes me think of, Scorpio? Like, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is today. It's got that kind of quality to it. It's like you could wait for things to be perfect. You could wait for everything to be aligned. You could wait for, the smiling face of Jupiter to bless all of your endeavors. Or you could just recognize that whatever you want to change, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever kind of restructuring you want to occur in your life, journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. I'm going to be shoehorning these bits of wisdom in right, left and centre, because the Knight of Wands is immediate. It is right now. The King of Wands and the Ace of Wands is a really powerful coupling, though, because it stops the Knight of Wands being chaotic and reckless, which sometimes he is rather wont to do. The King of Wands, as a guiding principle here, understands patience. He understands the importance of picking the right time for something, and his discipline and his wisdom actually overrides the more immediate kind of energy, which can be a little bit chaotic, of the Knight of Wands and the Ace of Wands together. I mean, these two showing up in color, I mean, that's just whew, that's a lot of energy right there, right? But this King of Wands is like, no, we're going to do it the right way. And in fact, the World card under here, which represents the sign of the planet Saturn, is again really leaning into this. It's going to take a while. It took a while for us to get where we are, and we know it's going to take a while to get to where we go. So we might as well start now. We might as well. Random fact for you, Scorpio. I'm going to share this with you because it involves death, not to be, stereotypical or out, but I think you'll appreciate this. When my daughter died back in 2003, two different people who didn't know each other both brought me something to mark the occasion. One person bought me a Mongolian dog rose and another person bought me a silver birch, just a little whip of a tree, and I planted both in the garden of the house that I lived in at that time, and I enjoyed them while I lived there. And as circumstances and things changed, I moved, and then I moved again, and I moved here. Even though I don't like moving, I seem to have done it a lot. And about a year ago, I was on a certain platform that has a street view on it. Don't want to give any free advertising to the monster, right? But I was on there, and suddenly I had a thought that maybe I could go and look at my old house. Now, my old house was on a street. It was called a street, but it was literally two houses on a dirt track in a hamlet in the middle of Yorkshire. So I didn't think I would be able to see the garden, but I just wanted to see the house. And the door that my late husband had made, his labour of love, which was so ridiculous we had to get special bolts, special brackets to hold the door on, because it was made of solid wood that was like this thick with, you know, an ornate carving on the front of it. That was still there. And I noticed that I could actually keep going down the track to where my garden was. And I went to my garden, and it was like the biggest slap ever, in the best possible way, that in the middle of the garden was the most beautiful silver birch that was almost 30 feet tall. And I was stunned. I was like, how could it possibly be that tall? How could it be that big? Is it the same tree? And it was. But then when I thought about it, I was like, well, it's been 20 odd years since I planted that tree. 20 odd years, and now look at it, it's beautiful. And then I looked to the left over the stone wall of the garden, and there was the dog rose. Enormous. It was literally about 10 feet high and covering about 15 feet in length down the side of the garden. It was absolutely extraordinary, and it really hit me in something really powerful. These kind of experiences, these moments of realization, you can't buy these. You can't even be told these. You have to witness these. And I think for you, Scorpio, you've seen so much, you've experienced so much, you've been through so much, you've had so much loss, so many times you have been born, died and been reborn in the same body, that you understand this pattern of timing. There's no frustration here. There is simply the wisdom of the experience accrued. We see this in the world. We see this in the King of Wands. We even see this in the complement of Judgment and the Empress together. And I have to say, the combination of these makes you pretty formidable, Scorpio, because you're willing to wait. You're a pretty patient sign anyway when it comes to a lot of things. But there's so much wisdom that is informing what you do. I think you've arrived at a point where you refuse to hold yourself back anymore. This is what this is reading like. It's Two of Pentacles. This is deceptively simple, deceptively low level. It's kind of like, no, I found my balance. I know exactly what I know. I know exactly, the quality of the wisdom that I'm working with. And now all I have to do is give myself permission to start. Because before I know it, it's going to be 20 years in the future. And that little whip, that little sapling that you're planting right now is a self-sustaining thing not too far down the line. So now is the time to get started. And this is what we're seeing here. I mean, the Seven of Wands is a card of many things. It's about protection and guardedness sometimes, which isn't necessarily a good thing, right? But this kind of protective instinct. But the sevens will have that quality of the comfort zone about them. I always find that the sevens appear when we are ready to start thinking about moving from a comfort zone, right? Seven of Wands, Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, even the Seven of Cups. Right? These sevens have that quality of reaching out beyond. And that's what we have. And you are at a place where you're ready to start reaching out beyond, but it is informed with something so strong. It's wonderful. So let's have a look and see what the tone of Leo season is for you here. To some extent, right? Oh, there we go. So we've got the Knight of Swords. To some extent, this squaring energy, this 90-degree energy, it feels like something you're actually prepared for, interestingly enough. Doesn't feel like it's ambushing you. Ooh, Page of Swords as well. Let's have a look. One more for Judgment. Wow. Now, if we were to consider these cards in order, you know, as they appear consecutively, as they do in the sword suit, these would actually appear the other way around. And, you know, according to the narrative that I've written for myself in my own head about how the suit functions at the court hierarchy level, this page would discover the information, pass it on to the knight, who then transmits it and gallops very fast and transmits it to the king and the queen, who weigh it up, test it for veracity, and then make decisions off the back of that, right? So moving forward. But when it comes this way round, it has the quality of the information actually galloping towards you at this point. The Knight of Swords represents the sign of Gemini, and obviously Uranus is there right now. And then we have the Page of Swords. You could say that this is showing up ass backwards, but it's showing up in a way that feels really right, actually, Scorpio, because it's coming to you. You're not going out after this. You're not delivering the information around. The information is coming to you. And this page feels like the expansion of the mind that follows. Why is this important? Because this decision that you've made here is the first in a series of decisions that it looks like you're going to be making in the very near future. Each one of them as important as the one before, and each one of them taking you somewhere that maybe 6 months ago you weren't capable of going, not because of any kind of you know, lack or loss of, you know, ability on your part, but more because things have to happen in a certain order. They have to be processed in a certain order, and there's a kind of readiness then that we signal to the universe, right? We're ready for the next stage. The thing is, it's not going to surprise you at all that there are great changes ahead for you. You're Scorpio, you know this. There are big changes ahead. But what I like about this is the fact that you appear to be in charge of every single one of them. None of these are ambushing you, and they're all happening at the right time, in the right order. There is a level of readiness here that I'm feeling in you, Scorpio, that is very conscious. This is not a, you know, a reluctant hero kind of energy where the hero gets the call and, you know, it initially resists it and all that kind of thing. It's like, no, done everything in the right order. We've worked through a load of things. We've created the internal balance. We are now ready, whatever that means. And now fast, you know, coming in at quite a pace with that 8 of Wands at the bottom of the deck there. These things are coming in one after the other, and each one of them expanding the way that you are thinking about this. Because I'm not seeing this Knight to Page as a contraction. It feels like a vast expansion, but it's one that comes to meet you. It's not one that you have to go out to find. And with this with this Judgment card here, you know that there are big changes that are coming in Leo season. Right? Whether they're on the mundane level out there in the world, or whether they're happening for you personally, you are well aware that the changes are en route, and that every single one of them needs to be faced with a conscious decision-making mechanism that you hold, and you've got it. You know, the Judgment card is an order of magnitude above the Knight and the Page and even the King and Queen of Swords. This is a series of life-changing decisions, each one coming at the right point almost immediately, actually after the last. What I really like about this is the level of fluidity balanced with stability that this implies. Because the readiness for the decision doesn't mean that you know what decision you're going to have to make, simply that you are ready to make it. That's the fluidity. The stability is, I'm ready. I'm not afraid of being ambushed by a situation. Like, I know exactly what I'm capable of, and I'm willing to even push beyond that at this point. Let me have this Judgment card. We've got the Two of Cups, And we've got the Four of Pentacles with the Ace of Pentacles. Now, it's entirely possible that for some of you, this may involve relationships. It may be going into partnership with people. This seemingly happening very much on the one-to-one basis at this point, rather than you and a crowd of people, right? We see that in the Two of Cups. But the Four of Pentacles, for me here, when I'm looking at all of this, there is a desire for the new, there is a readiness for the new, but to some extent there is a conservation of the old, that which must be preserved, alongside a new level of attention that you are paying to what happens next. We're back to a seeding moment here. The thing is, it's happening in a ripple, in a cycle. I don't even know, a ripple is probably the better term. One decision begets another decision, begets another decision, and so on and so forth. And the stability that runs through all of this is internal. It's yours. It's nothing to do with the outside bit. But there's something really, really powerful about what's spooling up here. Fuck me, I didn't even notice that tower underneath the Eight of Wands. This feels like it's really leaning into your strengths, Scorpio, right? Now, there was a time where you lived anywhere other than the present. You were either stuck in the past. No, you were stuck in the past. Let's be honest about this, right? But the anticipation of future events was always coming from a place of fear. Let me not be ambushed by something I cannot control. And in the work that you have done in the last few years, you've released all of the anxiety around that. Why? Because you've done a lot of work of healing the past, and you've moved yourself into the present. So rather than trying to project forwards what you don't want, there is now a faith in self that is represented, that is representing a willingness to go into the void, to go into the unknown. Safe in the knowledge that whatever comes up, this is something that you are going to be able to deal with. Now, I hesitate about getting too dramatic about world events and whatnot, but I can certainly feel them starting to heat up a little bit. So I'm not sure if what we're seeing here is world events end up being a catalyst in the ways in which they find themselves knocking on your door, or whether it is the tower represents this change of direction for you because you're flowing rather than trying to control. Four of Pentacles here is controlling what it is right to retain, the conservation aspect, but it's here also with a willingness to invest in the new, the creative, whatever it is that we're bringing through. I mean, the way that all this reading's speaking to each other is beautiful. What is Scorpio's next step, please? Knight of Pentacles, Two of Wands, Two of Swords, Eight of Cups, right? Every decision is important, but every decision is not necessarily going to present as important at the point where it shows up. This is this is important to know, because you know, if we try and if we surrender any sense of our own free will in a situation and simply just go where it feels like the universe is slapping us to go, then we end up feeling like we're being held hostage by the universe. I mean, that would be unacceptable for Scorpio, right? That's what you've spent your entire life trying to avoid, is getting into those situations where you feel like you're being held hostage by external factors. That's not what I'm seeing here. What I'm seeing here is the fact that it is very important for you to remember that at all times you retain autonomy, right? The only thing that you have to do is trust the work that you have done so far. We see this in the Knight of Pentacles, right? Not only the work that you have done so far, but the way that you continue to do it. Like by the time you see this, in all likelihood, the nodes will have shifted. So, you know, reference to the Virgo South node, I think, relatively redundant, but we have seen a resurgence in the last few months of South Node themes, which is very, very unusual for this transit. Normally, there's a big in-your-face peak as we get this, the nodes enter new signs, and then there's a kind of peak experience somewhere about 9 months in, roughly halfway through the cycle, where we've got some big stuff to deal with. But generally, once we've passed the peak period, we've understood how this is showing up a little bit more. We're resisting a little less. We're working with it a little bit more. And then the node transit tends to just sort of ebb away. And it has not happened that way this year, which I found really, really interesting. Like I said, last couple of months, the Virgo South Node stuff has really started shrieking, kind of like, you must deal with this before I leave, right? You've got to deal with this and that and this. So you've been doing that. Knight of Pentacles is keep doing what you are doing, but recognize that every single decision that shows up is important at this time. It is significant. But it's really important that you don't get overwhelmed by that, right? You don't kind of retreat and being like, oh my God, whatever decision I make here, it's going to be life-changing. I mean, the best decisions, the most life-changing decisions are the ones where we agree to keep a habit going, right? To not necessarily a bad habit, but any kind of habit. Why do I say this? So, in January, everybody decides they're going to fucking join a gym because this is going to be their year, and they're going to they're going to get really fit and strong and do all of these things. And it doesn't stick. Why? Because they don't give it long enough to be a habit. And because they never interrogated why it was that, if this was going to be such a life-changing thing, why the fuck they hadn't done it in the first place already, yeah. In my experience, and that is, of running a gym with my with my partner for many years, a martial arts studio, it is the people who tend to turn up in September, August, September, October, who tend to stay the distance, because they're doing it where they're doing it off cycle, right? They're kind of bucking the predictable January influx where everybody's convinced this is going to be their, or that kind of thing, right? These are the people who are willing to put the work in the dark part of the year to create a habit. This is now something that I do every week, once, twice, 3 times a week. I go to the gym, I do this, I do that, I do whatever, right? Lean into that, Scorpio, because whatever you have been doing, it's been bearing fruit. It might be subtle. I don't think you're experiencing it as subtle, but it might be. And recognize that each one of these crossroads that you arrive at, where a decision is necessary from you, is taking you somewhere that in all likelihood will be considerably further away from your current trajectory, right? The more you're willing to bring it in and make it habitual. You only need to be half a degree out calibrating on a compass. And travel 20 miles and you're going to find you are wide of wherever you thought you were going. And I think this is it. It's not the big flary stuff that makes the difference. It is the small things. And I think Scorpio is uniquely attuned to the detail of stuff, such that you can recognize that these decisions that you're making over the course of Leo season, whatever the backdrop may be, and we did see the tower there, whatever the backdrop may be, this is really, really important. And this Two of Swords on its side here, right? Neither a grand revelation of things nor, kind of willful blindness about stuff, but a willingness to explore and be open to will actually bring the revelations along the way, almost sideways. There's that old, is it Emily Dickinson? Yep. Tell the whole truth, but tell it slant. The meaning of which being, you sometimes you have to drip feed things in, because if it were to arrive all at once, it would be too much. Better bit by bit, And this is what this whole reading is about. It's bit by bit, Scorpio. Everything has a gestation period. This is awesome. 8 of Cups. Didn't even speak to that at the bottom of the deck there. It's a big departure. I mean, we saw it in the World card before at the bottom of the deck. There is a big departure from the baggage here. And this is strong. This is really strong. It's showing up very, very strongly indeed. And you notice how many of the other elements you're incorporating into this. It's almost like incorporating the other elements allows you to unstick yourself because you're ready. This is amazing. Right, I'm going to go over to the extended now. If you would like to join me over there, you're very welcome to do so. You can do that on Selfie or you can do that on Circle. I would be delighted to see you in either place. But it's entirely down to you. I think I'm going to go over to extended and pick this apart a little bit. I'm actually kind of excited for you, Scorpio, if I'm honest. Like this has got an exciting vibe about it. And it's so fucking masterful. I think that's what I like as well. I really like the mastery in this. So, join me for the extended. Don't join me for the extended. Entirely up to you. But the links are in the description box if you would like to. And other than that, know that I love you all very, very much. And I'll see you soon.